Do you really have any option when the restoration application is disapproved and you become somebody out of status here in Canada? Restoration application is not really the end of the story. You have an option known as the temporary resident permit that you can potentially take advantage of if you try to stay inside Canada in a legal way. Let's deep dive into it, and in this video I'm going to talk about the temporary resident permit options specifically for those that are living inside Canada. I am Niladri Mukherjee. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and I practice in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Majority of the people think that the restoration application is the final leg to legalize their status in Canada, and once the restoration application is failed, that's really the end of the story. It is not. Restoration application, the day you receive a decision on that restoration application, and if that decision is a refusal, from that very moment you become somebody in the eyes of law as a foreign national who is living inside Canada out of status, and your decision letter might say that if you do not leave the country, an enforcement action will be initiated against you. What the decision letter does not really tell you is that you also have an option to apply for something known as the temporary resident permit, or TRP, to potentially legalize your status inside Canada, and you can apply for a TRP only when you become inadmissible in Canada. Okay, so by inadmissibility I mean, let's say you have a criminality such as a driving under the influence, or by inadmissibility I also mean when your status expired and you become somebody out of status in Canada. TRP is a highly discretionary application that you can make under section 24.1 of the Immigration Refugee Protection Act of Canada, and if you are able to satisfy the immigration officer on the balance of probabilities that your potential stay will not cause a detrimental impact on the health, on the safety and the well-being of the Canadians, and that you have any pressing reason to stay inside Canada for the forthcoming future, for any foreseeable future, for a specific duration, the Immigration Refugee Protection Act of Canada has a has a provision that can potentially give you a relief in the form of a temporary resident permit. Yes, it's a discretionary application and therefore it's a complicated one, but it's not really an application that is impossible to get approved, right? But here is the trick. Once you apply for the temporary resident permit, it's really up to you as to how long you are applying it for. If I were you, for the most 99% of the cases, I for my clients apply for a TRP of at least 1 year. Why? Because if you get a TRP for at least 6 months or at least more than 6 months, you then are eligible to apply for open work permit based on the TRP under section 208 of the regulations, right? So let's say if you apply for a TRP for 1 year, and if you receive a TRP for 1 year, you can potentially apply for an open work permit based on the TRP while you are still inadmissible. And because you are applying for an open work permit, if you have an independent child, children, wife, etc., they are also eligible to apply for their respective status based on their TRP, right? Based on your TRP. So it's a very, very powerful application, but if done correctly, it has a real way to legalize your stay inside Canada. Mind you, the day your restoration of status application is refused, you will be considered as somebody out of status in Canada, and applying for a TRP does not put you in implied status. But for the most part, if you would like to stay inside Canada, you would still need to and should apply for a TRP, because number one, if it gets approved, you actually can stay inside Canada in a legal way. But even if it is not getting approved, at least you can prove to IRCC in the future that at least you have tried your best to sort of legalize your stay inside Canada. When you do not take the legal options, and if you are applying for even a PR or a visitor visa, work permit, whatever in the future, IRCC sees that in a negative way. We as an organization, we specialize in complex applications, including temporary resident permits. If you need our assistance with this kind of a complex situation, more than welcome to hop into the website nuvonation.ca, book a professional consultation. I'll be happy to take a more realistic look into your situation to be able to guide you in the right direction. Hope this helps. Bye now.